Welcome to this week's Goals to Life Down and Dirty Power 30. And today we are diving into a powerful financial goal with someone who's transforming how families talk about money. We've got Dr. Julia Myers here. She is definitely someone that you need to know. She's nationally recognized speaker and also a founder of the Generational Wisdom. Doesn't that sound great? Generational Wisdom, something we all want. With her deep expertise in family financial literacy and her relatable story driven style, she is helping parents raise money savvy kids. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with me today? I'm normally like so good at this. Okay, la 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 la. Okay, what is wrong with me, Amber? Let's just don't start it over. I'm gonna do it again. I'm normally like on this. Like I don't know. It's probably been too much today. Okay, we'll go. Ready? Here we go. Welcome to this week's Goals to Life Down and Dirty Power 30. Today we're diving into a powerful financial goal with someone who's transforming how families talk about money. Dr. Julia Myers is a nationally recognized speaker and founder of Generational Wisdom. Don't we all want generational wisdom? I might have to say. And with her deep expertise in family financial literacy and her relatable story driven style, she is helping parents raise money savvy kids without entitlement. Oh my goodness, love it. Julia, we are so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for being here today.
Wendy, I am so excited to be here. This subject just is my passion. I'm a word nerd and a money nerd.
Oh, okay. We love those things. So no, I know that I love your intro, even about the entitlement. We know that's like a big topic in today's society with the kids. So I'm excited to get into it today because we got 30 minutes, lots of great things to talk about. But so I know we're dealing with a financial goal, right? And share with me just some type of goals that you help your clients achieve the overall goal, the overall accomplishment of what goal you're looking to help your clients
Yeah,
achieve.
throughout the whole entire journey, what I'm looking for is to move from this guilt we might feel by enabling our kids to empowering them so that when they leave the house, they leave the basement, they are financially mature and responsible and off the payroll. So there are a
That's
lot of
nice.
steps in
That is
between
so
there.
nice. So no, and it's so hard because I don't even know people can wrap their head around it. It's like a concept like how do we do that? And today, there's not a lot of people out there like you helping parents. And it's just to invest in learning or your time to do this type of process is just going to help the lives of everyone down the road. And I know that you guys, when we talk about things, how you might think about it in goals to life, it's like more like, is it financial literacy for yourself, for your family? It is a way like how we can measure that. And I think a lot of it might be when we measure a goal like this, might be assessment on how well you feel your child is doing or how well you're doing at teaching them. So assessing kind of like where you are on that versus where you want to be, because we need to measure it. So just know for those creating a goal, if this is a goal, it's going to be in the financial realm. And, what we'll do here is Julie and I will create a pathway. But for the most part, we will say this will be like financial literacy or improving your financial education to your children, something of that sort. So I do believe that when parents do model healthy financial habits and beliefs, that kids can learn how to make wise money choices in life. It's not just about the parent having their financial goal; it's about teaching their children. So thank you.
Yeah. So is your family, provided for, or are they prepared? We want to kind of bridge that gap so that they're both. And I will say that nationally, 26% of parents feel confident their kids could handle money if they got it today. 26%. So if you're one of those 3 out of 4, this is the right track for you because this is going to get you started on that journey so that you end with that level of confidence that if something were to happen to you, you're there. You're confident that they would be blessed and not burdened by what you might be leaving them.
Oh wow. That's powerful, really powerful. I mean, you don't think of it like that. You're thinking of it as just like when you said off the payroll. Is the first thing I think of. Now you gave me a whole different perspective, Julia. Yeah, no, that is powerful. So with that, I know there's a lot of different strategies that you teach. What strategy are you? Give me one of the strategies that you would use to make this happen for one of your clients or a family member?
Got it. So I like to say we've got to start at the beginning, which is a self reflection. So it starts with you, even before you get your partner or your spouse involved. And really, we want to understand, we want to identify and understand how these financial influences are affecting your money mindset. So I'm not going to give you any numbers today. We're going to start at the very, very beginning about all those ways that you might realize, or maybe were never aware of, that shaped what you think about money.
I love that. So it's really just identifying your mindset.
And then we want to understand it. I like to think of the backpack that you pack at the beginning of the school year is full of things that you think you need. But by the end of the semester, whether your kids are younger or older, depending on how big they are, is how much they can carry. It's the same with our financial journey. So we might be adding things we don't need or that no longer serve us, or we might say, oh, that's my favorite planner. I'm going to hold on to that and keep it with me, not just this school year, but forever. So
Yeah.
starting at the beginning really allows you to say, I have the power to decide what I want to focus on. I have the power to decide what are those financial beliefs that serve me, that I want as part of my legacy, and then what are those beliefs that are like outdated, no good anymore.
Yeah. No, okay. So you help them impact. Do you have like a questionnaire, or when you have people make this assessment, is that something that you guide them through?
Yeah, so we have a financial influences assessment. So, what I have found is there are four main ways that people will likely be influenced. And so, high level, generationally, what generation you're born into or identify with, because some people are cuspers. I'm half Gen X, half millennial, based on which survey you take. So, I'm a cusper, but how I think about money is so very different than my parents who are baby boomers, right? So, generationally, huge impact on how we think about money. We also think about the family influences. What did you do when you were needing money growing up? Did you ask your dad or your mom for money?
Oh, you're asking me.
Yeah, put you on the spot.
Probably my mom, but also I they just taught me to be independent really young. So I started working when I was 15. And so it just was like, as a child, I just remember being with them and being provided for, right? But
Mhm.
when I really wanted something, I worked for it. But that's like a whole different conversation.
Yeah, well, and that from a family perspective, those are often your strongest influences that come from your parents or that nuclear family. So if there was negative energy or if there was not enough or fear of not enough, I say that that's kind of that middle class mindset of you got to work and work and save every penny, but you're not really moving forward in abundance. How your family talked about money, thought about money, their attitudes toward money absolutely shape our money mindset today. The last two are around us. So I like to think of those cultural norms. So here in Western culture, we really identify with money and the American dream and owning a home differently than our counterparts across the world. So culturally, how we think about debt, how we think about borrowing money and leverage and those sorts of things that are very slow to change. And over time, we might find that those influences are even subconscious. So culturally, women couldn't have a bank account or their own mortgages until 1972, unless their husband signed on it. So think culturally
Self on
where we
age.
are now.
And I was born in 72, so I don't necessarily want to say that. But hey, that means that was a powerful year. That's women got empowered
Yeah.
here. 72 is the number. Okay, I will not forget that. That's amazing though, but that it was took that long. Like it just
Mhm.
seems so normal now. And yeah, how
So
we've evolved.
culturally, and then that fourth influence that we really dive into in this assessment and in the video that I have for everyone is what's the social influence? Growing up, I could look left and I could look right and I could see the Joneses. I saw what they drove, I saw their house, and I that was it. That was my world of comparison. Now, today, our kids, oh my goodness, they have the literal world in their pocket
Oh,
of
they
comparison. So socially, things go in and out so much more quickly. And socially, it's like I'm going to transact in this way for likes and impressions rather than maybe that deeper piece of, okay, well, I saw that they bought the boat and then I saw how much that dad was gone because he was working, or that mom worked two jobs so that they could afford it. We're not seeing that. We're just seeing the filtered world of comparison. So social influences, those peer pressures, those things that quickly change, absolutely are the four ways that we really see influencing our beliefs. And I call it the belief box or the belief backpack. So as a child, you grew up with all these things. And now instantly as an adult, we're expected to not only carry our own backpacks, but now pass it on to our kids. And if we're not conscious and aware, we're going to just get caught in the rat race of doing what we always did. So I like to think
Well, okay,
about
so when you
holiday
bring up
traditions,
when you
buying
bring up
gifts, so
yeah,
different.
when you bring up social media, my question to you is this. Okay, so that's for the kids today. Or are you talking about the parents now?
I think both. I think as parents, we are stuck in the middle because we have to speak to our parents who maybe or maybe don't have cell phones and technology. And then we also have to keep up with our kids. And so for us, we've really got to start at the beginning, understanding those influences and deciding where do we put up those healthy boundaries to say, this is what I want for me. This is what in week 2, when you get to sit down with your partner and talk about what they grew up with money, what were their money stories. And then we can start kind of understanding together, what do we want that vision to look like for our family? Now that we know that you remember this thing about money or you remember that thing about money. I think that those are just weekly steps. When we put intention to it, it is such an important place to start. Why do we believe what we believe?
Right. Now I have a question for you because you said sit down, like with your partner, your significant other, your spouse. I would say, like, how often do you feel like, well, first off, would that be something you would recommend doing before someone gets married?
Absolutely. So finances are the number one cause of divorce for all kinds of different reasons.
Hmm.
And I do think that a divorce can be the most expensive decision that you make on the other side of it. So there are tons of financial implications, but most importantly, it's so that you as an individual can feel confident and can feel empowered. And that's a mindset shift that you don't have to rely on anybody else for revenue or income. You don't have to provide or expect somebody else to provide for you. You are confident in your ability to provide for yourself. So, absolutely, before you sit down and get married, I don't want to be that person that all you do is talk about money. We all have those in our lives, right? That every time you talk to them, it's like the stock market today or this real estate deal. The goal is not to be obsessive. The goal is also not to be avoidant. We want to land somewhere in the middle with a healthy relationship. And if you didn't grow up knowing what that looked like, it might take you longer to figure out what healthy feels like. Some people have more tendencies to feel scarce and risk averse, and some people are more spenders and visionaries and risk takers. And if you're married to one, you know it because it doesn't match what you are. And so having those conversations as early as you can in a relationship, I think is so, so, so important.
Right. Like just thinking about the belief system of how they're raised because you don't know, because it may not really come out till they're looking to raise their children either, too. So they may be one way, and then because they were raised a certain way, they may feel to raise their kids the same way. So kind of having these conversations up front. Have you seen that come into play where now that there's children involved, the way that they want to raise their kids is similar to how they were raised around their upbringing around money?
I think that that is the intention is I want to raise my kids with strong money values, a strong work ethic and integrity. And at the same time, many parents, myself included, I want my kids to have it better than I did.
Right.
And so I find that sometimes I'm blocking and tackling for them when if it was in my situation in my childhood, I learned from that failure or I learned through that experience or that saying no out of necessity. Where how easy is it to say yes, I want my kids to have more. So sometimes we as parents are now getting in our own way and maybe taking those opportunities of learning and independence and maturity from our kids. So we want to approach it with generosity, but also the most important behavior that we're going to learn throughout our work together and that I do with my parents is discernment. Having that wisdom, not just the wealth, but the wisdom to be able to navigate those discussions, navigate the ebbs and flows of the wants and the needs. And,
I love
sometimes that
that.
means saying no, but in healthy ways, not a no out of scarcity.
And there's great intentions with that, but then there's always a consequence either way, and it's finding that like good balance that will bring forth the ultimate result without, you have the intention of doing good, but in turn it just causes a problem down the road. Okay, so no, thank you so much, and I relate very much to this conversation. I Both of my kids are out of our house now, so we call ourselves bird launchers. And when you and I were talking about half glass full, that is our perspective on empty nesting. Is we're not empty, but we have launched our babes. But yeah, there's a bunch of different ways that, I try to teach in one way, my husband tried to teach in another. I wish we had you. I think it's a very critical conversation, and I really support what you're doing. Thank you, Julia, for breaking down the why and how and the amazing resource that you have to help people really understand how important it is to do the work around understanding their belief system currently and in the past, right? So, in regards to this, now we know the strategy, you guys. She's given a really in depth explanation, which is really helpful to all of us, is to see the importance of working on the strategy. So, now there's action. So, in order to work on this strategy, what do you want them to do? Do you have a few actions or a few things that you think would be helpful?
Absolutely. And so, no matter where you are in your financial journey or wherever you think your money mindset is, start there. So, I give you permission to not think about where you should be or what happened to you in the past. But today, you get to step into, you learned something new, and now you get to take responsibility and go forward. And we're going to do that in 3 steps to accomplish this goal. So, very tactical, one time resources that you're going to complete, but they'll be there anytime you need them and want to revisit. So, ready to go? Let's do it. First
Yeah.
thing is, I have created a special training for you guys that will cover in about 45 minutes those 4 financial influences in depth. So, you're going to get examples, you're going to get prompts, you're going to get some pauses and some time to reflect while you're doing it. And then take a few more minutes at the end just to kind of say, what did I learn? And you'll know you're done when you can identify your strongest financial influence, what it was when you were a kiddo and what it is for you as the parent today. That's the first action to complete this strategy.
Okay, that seems doable. And then how often would you suggest to
I
do
think
that?
we do it one time, and if you want to revisit, you can.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, what's
Yep.
another action that you'd have them do
Next
in order to
action, let
assess
that
it?
soak in. Let that just kind of hang out for a while. Don't try to do all these in one day because then you're just checking a box. You're not actually getting the benefit of the result. So maybe the next week, go ahead and sit down with your partner and do what I call the fishbone activity. So you
Okay.
learned what I taught, and now we get to apply it. Now that you've had more time to think about maybe some of those things that have come up for you since we introduced generational, family, social, and cultural influences. And then you get to have a fishbone that basically identifies all the way down what it is for you that shaped your financial beliefs. So that is your week 2 or your second activity. And that is something you can do digitally or you can print it off. I've got a resource for you. Here's the link.
Oh, cool. So all right. So you have a link for the fish. It sounds like a game, a fun game. So I like the name of it. And how long does it usually take someone to process that they should set aside to do something like that?
When I do a live workshop and a live training, it is about 90 minutes, and that's with a group of about 12 people, and we're having a lot of dialogue. So if it's you and your partner, I would say 60 minutes or less.
Okay, great. To go through it and dissect it. That would be 60 minutes per person or together, like they work on it and then discuss it.
I think together, since individually or together, they completed step 1 and they watched the training and they did some self reflection. And then in step 2 is when we can kind of come together and say what came up for them in that situation.
Okay, I love it. All right, and then what would be another step that you would recommend?
All right, step 3 is we are cleaning out the backpack. So we are going to identify one thing that stood out to you from your childhood, and we are going to talk about it. Whether that's with your children, if you have children, whether that's with your family of origin, just talking about money, we want to normalize it, and
Yeah.
everybody loves a good story. So the challenge or the task or the action is discuss an early money memory with your children or with someone you love. So
Okay.
there's no
So
judgment, there's no shame. It's just,
they
I
get to choose
remember.
one of the items. So they choose one item and then one of the things that they discovered, and then they share it with either their children or a family member. But they've already talked about it with their spouse, right?
Yes, they've already talked about it with their
Or
spouse.
their partner.
Mhm.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so that's great.
Yeah.
So those are the three steps that you would recommend in this of figuring out the belief system. And for that, you've given them how. So now we know what to do and how to do it. And Julia has been so gracious to share, some resource with us. So that's wonderful. And then on top of that, I know that you've seen a lot of people go through this program with you. Do you have a success story that you would like to share on somebody that's done this exercise, done this, worked on the strategy, and it like brought so much awareness to them that it really brought success?
Yes, I have a story that is special to my heart because it's one that it took a few times of talking through this to really sink in. And so growing up, this person remembers counting coins and remembers rolling the coins and taking them to the bank and remembers the thought or the belief that money equaled happiness and that money equaled success. And she had spent most of her professional career achieving that. And then when we were going through this training, it really hit her that she's like, I don't know that I believe that anymore. I believe, other things equal happiness. Freedom of choice, choices are happiness. That's what wealth means to me, not
Yeah.
just being rich. And so this aha moment was really great because then she was able to go back and share it with her partner and then with her kids who never really understood like why you would believe that because that's not what they identified with or remembered. And so the success story there was finding those things that equal value to
Yeah.
you as an individual instead of just accepting what you were taught or what you were given when you were a child.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. So no, thank you so much for sharing that. And I bet you it just feels good when people share like how the results that come from this type of work, because this work a lot of times people want to skip it, but it's actually the foundation of moving forward, right?
It is totally the foundation, and everyone has a story with money.
Oh yeah.
Everybody
Dude,
does.
I know.
Whether you like your story or not, you've got one.
Yeah, everyone's got a story. I know it's just pulling those stories out. And I do think that those are the things that your kids will remember and relate to more when you share it with a story. And they might have a little bit more understanding too. No, it was so nice having you here today and such a powerful message. Right on for sure. And I know families, if you are here and you're listening and you're ready to level up your financial conversations and help your kids, and most importantly, help them feel confident with money. I would definitely take Julia's advice at heart and start with yourself. Start with this assessment because it really starts with you as a leader of the family, and just get the resources that Julia's provided. Do that work, and if you find you want more support, she's definitely here to help because it's not just about dollars and cents. It's about building a legacy of wisdom. And that's her thing, generational wisdom. So we want to do that again with confidence and connection that will outlive any bank account. So I would say start with one conversation and one activity and one moment of reflection, and you'll be amazed at the ripple effect that you can have in your home. So remember, teach your kids about money. It's not just a task, it's a gift that will empower them for life. Thanks again, Julia, for equipping us with such practical tools and for reminding us that it's never too early or too late to rewrite our family's money stories. So I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you so much. You said it so well and so eloquently.
Thank you. Well, we'll see you all next time on the Goals to Life Down and Dirty Power 30. Until then, stay intentional, stay courageous, and keep growing. Talk to you all soon. Thanks, Julia, for being here today.